Welcome back. I'm gonna do something different this time. Doing a deck tech. Figured it'd be something fun to do it on. My local LGS decided to get a league together, but we had stipulations. Your budget's $100, not counting basic lands, and you can't have any cards that have to be on tapped outs top 100 EDH. If they're on there, can't have them. No soul rings, no signets. Half the talismans are gone. Soccer Tribe Elder, Smothering Tide, all that good stuff's gone. No Cyclonic Rifts, nothing like that. So, I thought it was fun. They did say we can use any kind of printing we want it. If we wanted to use foils or special lottery cards or whatever, showcases. What we're going off of is the cheapest printing available for that card itself. So if you wanted to, let's say, use what's that green card? Card at Crossroads, where every creature has haste. It's a $286 card. Well, in Chronicles, it was reprinted, and it's $50 in Chronicles. So technically, you could use it. You would just only have a budget of $50 left. Well, I decided to do Volrath Infect. Why not? At the time of making it, the mid from TCG players, which is the process we're using, is mid TCG, is $99.30 without the basics. As long as you can prove that you have that, that's good enough. Marketing, $90 just for the market, and lowest you get is for is $55. So it's a easy budget deck for people. Will it win against competitive play? Or not really competitive, but more heavy powered casual play, but they have Cyclonic Risk, stuff like that? Probably not. But I'm playing it for a league. So, first off, we're going to get with the sorceries and stuff that helps out. Overwhelming Stampede. Gotta get that trample in. You gotta get that infect in when you can. We have the second one, Overrun. Because it's the same thing. Why not use it? This one's my favorite. When they're not expecting you, you attack with a little 2/2 infect, and okay, whatever, I'll take it. You slap +5/+5 on it, and they can't target after that. They can't respond to it. They're just taking 7 infect instantly. Of course, gotta have counterspell. So can't use. I don't think you can use actual counterspell. So I did this one. Why not? Makes it fun. Make you lose 2 life for it also. It's not a creature spell. I'm not worried about creatures mainly. Creatures are easy to deal with. It's not creature spells. Next up we have counter target spell. If its controller's poison, most likely they're gonna be poisoned in some way, shape, or form. That's how this deck works. Distortion strike. Creature's unblockable, gets +1/+0. That's a great way to get infect in. Plus it has rebound, so it happens twice. Another great way is just to shut them down. The old Frozen Aether. Artifacts, creatures, lands, pawns come untapped. That's worth it. And the old Dolmen's Gate. I know it's a little more pricier. It's on the $14 range, but it's worth it, especially whenever my creatures don't take damage, but their creatures still get withered away. Basically, it's worth it. Also threw in this little signal pest. That way, if they decide not to block, all my creatures get +1/+0. That's extra infect getting put in. Worth it to me. Golgari Charm. Gotta be able to destroy at least a enchantment somehow. If not, regenerate all my creatures when a, let's say, board wipe comes up that's not on the list. Like Farewell's not on the list, which I think Farewell is exiles, but you know, something like that. There's a couple that aren't on the list. Here is creature removal. Yeah, they get a basic land, but sometimes you got to deal with a certain creature. This is a brand new card. I think it is really good because it's exiling an artifact or an enchantment for 3 mana, which is phenomenal. To exile it, might as well put it in there. And this is for all the Voltrons that are probably going to pop up. I know one for a fact. My brother-in-law has a feather deck that he likes to pump it up, throw it out. Well, you got to sacrifice it. Split second, you can't respond to it. So, and then move on to the mana rocks. Like I said, we don't have a whole bunch, so I kind of improvise a little bit. A little pixie gives me green or blue. This is a very underrated one. Ornithopter Paradise, very underrated. Any one color for 2 mana, that's not bad. Thought Vessel, because it's a 2 mana rock, that's 1 colorless. And the one of the talismans that was not on the list, mainly because they ain't been updated in a year. But there's that one. Now, let's move on to the old Infect side of everything. So, Blight Agent, it's unblockable. Why not? It's worth it. Most of the Infect creatures are cheap. Besides Skittles, and of course, a Vorinclex would be really nice here, the new one. But again, it's not worth it. Not worth the budget. Flying Infect plus whenever it does damage to a player, you may sacrifice. If I do, that player discards a card for each poison counter he or she has. So it's not bad if they have like 5 or 6 poison counters. Make them discard the whole hand. This one is definitely underrated. If honestly, I feel like I should probably put that in more decks just because of the ETB of destroying an artifact for 3 mana. It's basically Reclamation Sage, which is on the list. There it is. This one's basically unblockable. That's what this is. Basically unblockable. This one gets bigger for each poison counter they have, which hopefully is enough. Even if it's 2, still helps out. When it's dealt damage by when a creature is killed by it, so if I have Dolmen's Gate out and it kills a creature, I get to draw a card. It's basically in there for the Infect. I don't really care about the cards that are on it. It's good to have all this with extra abilities on them. Yeah, that's a good blocker. That's pretty much what I would use it for, as a blocker. That way, if you want to attack, I'm going to block with it. You see I'm going to block with it, you're going to get a poison counter. It's worth it. Just plain old flying. 1/1 for 2. I do have this. It is a mana dork, but it can also be infected if I get it out in turn 2 and nobody else has anything out. This one right here is a good one because it gives me creatures for each poison counter each opponent have. Commander, you always have more than one opponent, so that one just has to attack each turn. Downside, but not that bad. This one right here, if it's dealt damage, I prevent the damage, but I put a -1/-1 counter on for each 1 damage prevented this way. A little drawback, worth it. Plain old Infect. This one lets me get a -1/-1 counter, which works great with the commander because if a creature has a -1/-1 counter on it, I can give a creature -1/-1, but I can also pay 1 and make it a copy of that creature. So if somebody has a, I'd say somebody was man enough to put an Avacyn in their deck, bam, I can copy Avacyn 1 mana and prevent destruction, basically. This one right here, it blocks, is going to get bigger, so they're going to lose, hopefully, creatures quicker when they block. Instant poison counters for each opponent. I mean, it does do it to me, but it's a chance you've got to take sometimes. Plus, no one else is really going to play Infect or Proliferation, so it's worth it. This is a Lord effect. Whenever I cast a spell with creature spell with Infect, target player's poison counter. So that right there its whole job is to sit on the battlefield and just go AWOL with creature spells. A lifelinker, not that great, but it's Infect. Basic ordinary vanilla Infect. Infect, when it enters the battlefield, I return a creature card with Infect to my hand from my graveyard. Recursion, not bad. This one is the best of both worlds because it infects, and whenever they die, it dies, I get to proliferate the Infect again. This one is a little bit of a downside because it can't attack unless the defending player is poisoned, but as you've seen, all it takes is one rat and they're poisoned. Everyone. This one, we're starting to get into these spells. This is perfect for anyone who wants to play some type of mana rock. If they have a beefy creature, do it. They want to attack with their commander's artifact, do it. Their deck's based on activating ability of an artifact, do it. Because that right there, it's just hurting them. They either take the hurt or they don't play their deck the right way. This one is kind of the same but opposite. I take the creature and give it Infect, whatever creature I want in the field. This one I use as a kill spell. 5 mana, I make that player draw 3 cards, but the point is the 3 poison counters. So, let's say they have, 7 poison counters? 5 mana, you're dead. Simple as that, unless you counter it. This one's not bad, because my commander would be putting -1/-1 counters on a creature. Also, so, this right here can just help it out, or, so be it, someone blocks, their creature's going to die, before combat damage is dealt. I'm going to give it -1/-1. When it dies, you get a poison counter. Creature removal with flying, and they get poisoned. I like that. Comes out of nowhere, especially whenever there's a flyer, and there's not super whole bunch of Infect flying, but I'm sure there's going to be a flyer coming eventually, because I have Infect. And this one's probably the best card in the deck. 1 mana to play, 3 to equip. Basically saying you're going to get infected regardless if you want to or not. I don't have to attack, you're getting infected, period. And then Decimator's Web. Pay 4, target player loses 2 life, gets poison counter, puts top 6 cards of the library in the graveyard. That's amazing. It's good. It's really good. Alright, so let's move on to what to do with the poison counters after they get them. Well, best thing to do is proliferate them. Well, yes, I have to sacrifice a creature to proliferate it, but if I attack, they block it, creature's gonna die anyways. Okay, well, I'm just gonna sacrifice it and proliferate the poison counters that you have already. This one is just a blocker. Whole purpose, block. You attack, I'm blocking, everybody's getting proliferated. That's what that means. This one is the Flying Inflict, but the main thing on it is be able to dump mana in it for 4, 3, and a blue to proliferate all the counters already. And that's its purpose. Purpose is just to proliferate. This one right here is I have to deal damage to a player, but it's just straight proliferate. I can damage anyone and proliferate. Whereas this one, I have to give it to that one player. Basically, it deals combat damage for each kind of counter on target permanent or player. Give that permanent or player another counter of that kind. So you can only do one, either a target permanent or a target player. But I can actually, hey, look, I'm going to swing this at you with 2. I won't proliferate yours. I'll proliferate this guy's over here. It's a good political card. They probably won't like it regardless. This one right here. His whole job is to Pay 5 and proliferate. The 1/1 counter coming in is not bad. I probably just put it on him to make him a little bigger instead of just a 1/1 so I don't get pinged easily. But yeah, it's made just to proliferate. Mana sink. This one is good because let's see, I have 24 non-creature spells. That's 24 times I can proliferate with that. And then probably the best proliferator there is, I just play a land, proliferate. Gotta have him. Here's another one. This one stacks with the other one when I do non-creatures, but it proliferates, period. Even with creatures. Amazing. This one's a good card for me, because I don't mind paying 2 life and 3 mana to draw 2 cards and proliferate. Removal. It's a bit pricey, but the main thing is I'm paying for the proliferate. Destruction of the creature it's just a bonus. The proliferation's the main thing. 2 mana, draw a card, then proliferate. That's a good one to have. Another proliferate, draw a card. It's 1 more mana more than the other one, but it works out. This one can work with my commander because it produces a -1/-1 counter on a creature, and then I can also proliferate. So if I'm putting out 1/-1 counters on everyone else's creatures beginning of combat, my commander lets me, then I can literally just be like, proliferate that -1/-1 counter. You basically just kill creatures off of -1/-1s, and also proliferate an infect. Gotta have the counter spell for for proliferation. You know, that's proliferate's the main key of the deck. Might as well just remove that spell and then proliferate. Contagion Collapse, gotta have it. It's the second best proliferator, I believe, paying 4 to proliferate. A close second, because there is a land that does it. I do have plenty of artifact style creatures and regular artifacts that hey, if it means sacrifice them to kill somebody, so be it. This is semi-new. I like this card because I can pay 2 mana to proliferate, and I can fight up to 1 target creature. I don't have to fight a creature. So if there's nothing worth killing or worth trying to kill with Infect, or -1/-1 counters, because Withering, Infect, whatever you want to call it, I don't have to fight. I can literally just pay 2 to proliferate. The up 2 is the best part on that card. And this is probably the best proliferating engine in this deck. Contagion engine, why not? Pay 4, proliferate, and then proliferate again. By all means, the best card, or the best proliferation card in this deck. So now let's get on to utility lands. Of course, I done mentioned it. Carnage Bastion. Proliferating is key. Mana sinking stuff into stuff like that's worth it. Next best land. Just making them unblockable if I can. Of course, I have a fetch land because a lot of the good fetches, like Kodama's Reach, Farseek, stuff like that, you couldn't use it. It's on top 100. Gone. I'll use a land. It'll be alright. Then, of course, I have my mana lands that tap for multiple colors. I'll just go through them decently quick because they're just lands that tap for multiple colors. And these are cheap and budget lands that you can use. Remember, this deck only cost $100 technically. I mean, I'm looking at Tapped Out, which the deck list is on Tapped Out. And the TCG player market right now says 85 to 80. On my phone, I use the Mana Box app, and it tells me $90 for the market. So they're decently close. But that's $100 deck right there. That's a budget. And then of course I have the basics. I like to put all my information into the Mana Box app, mainly because it lets me see how much mana I have of what pip, how much mana producing I have of each pip. It's pretty even. I think I'm a little heavier on the green cost, but the mana is like spot on even between all of them. I think I have like 3 more green than I do the rest. Like I said, I have 29 green symbols, I have 22 blue and 22 black. But mana producing is 15 black, 14 green, 13 blue. It's perfect. Like it will be fine, especially since I'm able to run those duels in budget, and that's the main thing. And the reason why I chose him is mainly because of the -1/-1 counters, because I can proliferate them and get rid of creatures, and the fact that I can steal a creature, pseudo steal a creature. So it works out a lot. The mana curve is not too bad. There is 22 2 costs, 14-3, 11-4, 10-5, and 5-6 and above. And then there's 4 1 mana costs. So I think that roughly translates to about 3 something. According to Tapped Out, the meter, it is 31% casual and 69% competitive. But again, this is a budget deck that is not using the top 100 EDH cards on the Tapped Out list. That's all I have for this video. I will put a link to the deck on my YouTube description. That way, anyone who's wanting to do something like this with the league, a budget, I think it's a great idea. I love being able to do it. It makes you think when you have to build a deck and what you're going to put in there. I mean, I was taking this deck, I think before I took it apart, was $200-$300, and most of it was the lands, honestly. So, like I said, you gotta think a little bit, and it's worth it. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to be able to have a restriction on decks, so gameplay is a little more fair. Well, hope y'all like my first deck tech. Like I said, if y'all looking for a budget deck and you're looking for, I guess you can call it unfun, unfair Infect, because people do, $100 right here will get you a full deck, card for card, besides basic lands. And I'm pretty sure in basic lands I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 basic lands. And in my Mana Box app, when I turn on the basic lands to count into the pricing, I think it was like $107 with those basic lands, with the Battle for Azrael, or not Battle for Azrael, that's WoW, Battle for Zendikar lands. So full art, you're paying an extra $7-8 to get them. You don't have to. I like my deck to look a little pretty. Like I said, you can easily do this deck for $100. Done. So, alright, till next time, y'all have a good one.